Hello again. We're on to lesson 4, and what I'm going to do this time is talk about the parts or my regular task of updating the system. And in this particular part of it, on this lesson, I'm not going to cover any of the parts that require major programming, but rather most of it, as you'll see, does not involve any kind of programming at all. But it simply is the various methods I use to update the system each time. And I'm going to cover most, but not all of it. The parts that I'm not going to cover are you should be able to understand how I do it from what I'm going to illustrate now, because they use the same techniques. But what you need to know is that there are 3 or 4 additional software pieces that are used besides Word in making the update process work. And those are Microsoft Access, which is already part of your Office suite of programs, Adobe Acrobat, which you probably do not have and you will need to get. The department should have licensed copies of Acrobat. I have an old version and I can get it to you if you need it. A zip utility, the old version is what I use. A zip utility, that comes with the computer. It's a PK zip. I actually use a different one, so when I'm going through it I will be illustrating with a different zip utility, but it's the same principle. And SFX Maker, which is a different kind of zip utility, which I'll explain when we get to it. The last 2 things are just used for the very last part of the process, which is putting it all together in a way that it can be extracted onto people's machines. It doesn't have anything to do with putting together the program itself. The main documents for updating all come out of, or are most, well, let's put it this way. When I update, I'm usually updating when the pararegs come out. And as I may have indicated earlier, for the pararegs, all I have to do is unzip the pararegs and stick them into the, I actually have a shortcut on my desktop, but to go the long way, you go to C WP51 work, and I gotta go down here to get to the folders info. This is a gigantic directory. There's a lot of files in it, and it has everything that relates to our information systems, basically. The other major directory that I use is for form decisions, but when I'm updating, unless I'm I also update the form decisions in that the letters are part of the form decision directory, which is in CWP51 templates forms. And that's, as you can see, this last time I actually modified one of the form decisions, but you almost always will see the letters, the form letters, because I usually update those every time. And I'll explain that actually in the next lesson. But no, this lesson. I'm going to do it in this lesson. But anyway, those are the 2 folders that get updated. The when you go to contacts here, this button here, the macro that's attached to that simply brings up a file. That file is called PERSDIR-HTM, and it's slightly different for each region. And I may have changed actually the name. Let's look a minute. I may now have a different name for it depending on the region. I meant to make that change. I don't know if I have. Yes, I did. Like there's SAC Perster, LA Perster. I did that because I didn't want to, and there's BA Perster somewhere. I did that because I didn't want, in fact I just modified BA Perster because it had some improper links, but I did that because I didn't want to, it was too easy to make mistakes the other way. So those files, depending on what region you were in, are for the contacts. There's just one overall file called EASLinks.htm for everything else. And why do I bring that to your attention? Well, when you hit these buttons, for example, if I hit the reference button, which I've just done, you will get this screen in your browser. I'm actually not using Explorer, I use a different browser. But whatever browser you're using, you'll get this screen. This screen you can edit, and so everything comes off. You're outside of the macro system now, and all I'm doing is linking documents. And I'm going to show you how I do that. This document, EASLinks.htm, comes up, like I say, in your browser because that's what it's told to do when it sees that's what Word is told to do when it sees a HTML document. But you can also bring it up in Word, and that's what I would do to edit this. If I go to a blank screen here, and I go to open, WP5 info, and I type in EAS links. The file that had opened in the browser now opens in Word, and you can edit it. And some of these links go to a different part of the same document, a part you don't see, but you would see if it's checked. For example, this one does. It goes to a different part of the same document. Watch, as I click it, it goes right down here, which is the menu of the regulations. And so you go back, I'll simply go to the top, you'll see that there's a lot in this document. EAS links. Well, how did it go there? Well, in Microsoft Word, if you put your cursor over one of these links and hit Control-K, you will get to a edit hyperlink box, and you can link to a part of the document called a bookmark, and that's what I've done in this case. I've linked to the regs, because that's what's highlighted here, the regs part. And I'll show you. Let's go to the regs part by just clicking on it. If I go to, now I'm going to bear with me here because I'm not even sure how to do this with the ribbon. but I want to see the bookmarks. There's a way of showing them by toggling and trying to figure out what that is. View. How about view? Show. Let's go back to insert bookmarks. So I'll pause this for a second to try to figure out how to do it. Okay, back on. Finally found it. Boy, when they did Microsoft 2007, they did not make things easy. You go to the Office button here. You go to Word Options, and you go to Advanced, and you click under Show Document Content. Here you click Show Bookmarks and click OK. And now you will see this funny little thing here. See the little object here before each of those things? That happens to be a bookmark. And I highlight it. Well, now if I go to Insert, Bookmark, it probably tells me what the file is. It says child here. So I don't know if that's the bookmark child. But anyway, these bookmarks, you're not going to have to worry about them. They're already been set. But you can navigate to bookmarks by using a hyperlink. I'm going to turn that off so I don't see these bookmarks anymore. I'll go to Word Options. I'm just doing in reverse what I had just done. But it also allows you to go directly to a document. So, for example, the food stamp questions and answers takes you to the FSQA PDF document. Now, if I wanted to change that, you could just change that to any directory or anything in Word, and then to the then you just put the document in, and Word will link right up to it. So the whole key is when you create a hyperlink, for example, you'd say, give me a hyperlink. I'm just going to type this for fun. Highlight it, press Control K, and you've got a choice. You can go anywhere you want in Word, or even put a web browser link in there, and that's where the hyperlink is going to go. So that's how you put the hyperlinks into Word. Very easy. So that's what these documents are. So if you need to modify them, do anything you want, you just you go to the document. For example, if I go to Regulations and Manuals, now I got a whole new set of hyperlinks. And then notice that if I click on this one, if I put the mouse over it, tells you where it's going. Okay, I could hit Control K, it would tell you where it's going to. But if you just put the mouse over it, it tells you where it's going. First one's going to the directory, WP51 work info. But the next one's actually going. The next one's going to the directory. But if I go here where it says web, it's going to go to the California Code of Regulations web spot. So, like I say, you can put both links to the web and to to places in the computer, or to places in the document by putting bookmarks in. I should tell you that when you make reference to a bookmark, which you probably won't be doing, you use, again, if I hover the mouse there, you can see it over the first one, Regulations and Manuals. You need to put a in the hyperlink. You need to put a what's it called? That sign that's over the 3. I don't know what it's called. You should know. But that's a signal for it to go to the part of the document that's the bookmark. So that's that. Now, going back to the lesson here, so the contacts, the purse dir works the same way. If I bring that one up, open, and PSDIR, that's going to be the one for Escondido. The other ones are, I guess, the ones for the other regions have a different name. But again, just hyperlinks here to various, all these are to various places in the info directory, various files. And they're all either HTML or PDF files which the browser can open up. Okay. So that's hopefully pretty easy. Doesn't involve a whole lot of, doesn't involve any programming at all. You just got to use, when you're working with hyperlinks in Word and you want to put them in, you need to know to hit Control K. There's probably a way off the ribbon to do it, but I just use Control K. Now, back to here. So, the various things that I do. Like I said, I just unzip the pararegs into the info directory. That's all I do with those. All the other work on those is done by Barry and whoever, and Cheetah and whoever's doing the pararegs. But what I do is I run a special file afterwards, which I demonstrated in the last lesson, which is called convert pararegs, and I run this convert scroll, and that basically reconverts the whole system and adds the appropriate buttons to the file. So, updating the county contacts. That process is maintained for us, fortunately, in Sacramento. And what I do to get that job done is this. Go to the Sacramento directory. And I go to Common. Well, I'm already at Common. I go to there should be there it is, Contacts MDB, and this, I'm not sure who is responsible for updating it, but it was last updated on May 12th. I simply take this database and copy it and put it on my desktop. So right now it's downloading to my desktop from the server. Once I open that file, it is, most of these buttons are for the secretaries that, or whoever's responsible for updating these files. But this is something Diane and I designed some time ago. But what I did is I've added buttons that I use, and one of them is output reports. If I have this database up and I click this button right here, I'm not going to do it right now because I've just done it a week or so ago. It's going to output to info all of these little documents right here. See all these little HTML documents? That's the That's the list of contacts for each county. And so it's going to, just to illustrate it, what it's going to do is it's going to automatically update what you see if I click contacts. And if I go to all county contacts, each one of these files here are what has been just updated by clicking that button. Okay? So that's what does that. So obviously that's very easy. What I also do, though, which is a little trickier, is I click this button, which gives me the code for the covers and the letters. And I'm going to click this right now. And this part's going to get a little bit complicated, but bear with me. It's creating a file. I'm trying to remember if we're going to do it somewhere. I'll tell you. But these are files that happen to load up, or you don't even know what an RTF file is. Anyway, what ends up happening is that I get a series of files and code in them. What I do is this is where I actually need to. I'm going to bypass this one because I'm going to show you something unique. Let's take the LA standard letter. What I'm going to do is hit Control A. It selects everything that's here. That's all you have to do. Hit copy. And then, here's the little tricky part. Go back to the desktop. Go to the Forms directory, which is in CWP51 templates forms. So I'll do it the long way, although I got a shortcut on my desktop. CWP51 templates forms. And I have just copied the LA standard letters stuff. So I'm going to open up the LA standard letter dot. Then I need to go to Visual Basic, which I have shown in the past. And if you're new to this, just trust me, all you have to do is hit Alt F11. You'll see this screen. And what you need to do is make sure, look in the top left-hand corner, make sure you're working on the project that says Scan Letter LA. And if you see it looking like this, you need to click the button that opens up the various things. Plus, make the plus button minus. I mean, yes. And then this particular code, if you go to letter and bring up the letter form, and then click View Code, and then simply erase by hitting Control A, delete everything that's on there, and hit Control V. Put it back. We've updated the code. You haven't had to do anything other than simply update the code, and it just has all the any changes that have been made to the county personnel that you would be addressing a letter to, or any addresses that have been changed will be automatically updated by taking this step. So you need to do that for each reading. I'm going to show you one little exception to that. This is for the letters. And where do you find these documents? Well, they should be right on your taskbar once that button was clicked in the database. Okay, so the one exception to this process is the SAC letter. The database, I can't get the right code to go on that. So what I've done is a cleanup macro. And if you bear with me a second here. Okay, with the with the code that you get here, do the same thing, copy everything. But before pasting it into the Sacramento letter, I've written a macro to clean it up. So I go to a special, open up this Sacramento letter, open that up, replace what's already there by deleting it, taking this, and then running this macro called fix it. And that should take care of it. That should clean up. Then take it all back and plug it into Sacramento letter the way I hope that was clear. If not, give me a call. So that's for the cover. It's basically the same process, you just do it differently. For the cover information, one thing you have to do is well, just copy everything that's here the same way. Control A, Control C, or Control X if you want to cut it. It really doesn't matter. Then you need to go to DecSystem folder itself. Open up. This was the LA cover, I believe, that I was working with. So I want to open up the patsla.m. Open that up. Then, with that open, press Alt F11 again. Go to this forms here and go to this form that's called Cover F. Click it on, and then click View Code. Get rid of all the code that's here, and then just paste the new code. Same idea. It's updated all the contact information. Okay, and then you just save the changes to Pat's LA, and you're done. So you do that with the other those other documents. That explains that process. I'm using the information out of the contacts database to generate code and to so that it fixes the letters or it updates the letters and updates the cover pages on decisions to reflect the current county personnel. There are other documents that I simply grab from the Sacramento server, and let me find them. It's in a folder here, and it's called pause again while I look at this. So the particular folder that these two reports or two folders or two reports are in is in SHD rosters, and the two files I'm looking for are county list PDF. All you have to do with county list PDF is just copy it and stick it in info and you're done. But the other one you want is SHD Regional Offices Roster. And I copy that. Now watch this. I'm going to show you what Acrobat does now. You copy that. And I'm going to paste that onto my desktop. I'm going to change the name of it to correspond to the name I give it in our system, so I rename it and I call it S index. Okay. But before I put that into info, what I'm going to do is open it. If I just click on it, it's going to open up with Reader. But if I go to Adobe Acrobat, which is the version of Acrobat I'm using, and the difference between Acrobat and Reader is that Acrobat lets me make changes to the document. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to open Adobe Acrobat. I'm going to File, Open. And I'll go to my desktop and open S index. And I get this. The difference is, now what I can do is, using the select tool here with the T, I'll highlight first Chief Administrative Law Judge's Office, and watch how easy this is. All I hit is Control D, and I've got a bookmark here. Everything becomes smaller. So I'm going to go down to the next thing, highlight that, hit Control B. I've got a link to this one. Control B, so I just go down this document and insert the bookmarks. They should put these bookmarks in there anyway when they develop the document, but that's what they're doing and this is what I'm doing. So it's real easy to do. Just go through this document, highlighting. And adding bookmarks. And you'll see I use this technique often when working with the various PDF documents in the system. Okay, should be about done. Special Task Force. What is the Special Task Force? Well, somebody knows, I'm sure. Anyway, now I've got the bookmarks, so I can resave this document as the bookmarks. But there's one other thing at least I have to do in this version of Acrobat. Maybe the newer versions have a easier way to do this. Not that it's that difficult. But in order to have the bookmark show when the user opens it, because I want them to open it and say, oh gee, I want to go to San Diego and do that, right? So I want bookmarks to show. I want the document looking just like this when it's open. So what I have to do is go to File and over to Document Properties and then to Open Options and change from Page Only to Bookmarks and Page. And click OK. Now I save the document. And S index is now ready to go. Just simply cut it from the desktop, put it in info, and I'm good to go. And it asks me if I want to replace the whole one. Sure. So I'm good to go. So you got that, hopefully. So, updating program contacts. There's a similar file on the server, which is in program folder called program contacts, that unfortunately has not been updated very regularly, but it generates. It's a database called ProgramMDB, and so if I copy it, so what you want to do is copy it, and paste it, pasting and replacing the one that's already on my desktop from the last time I did that. Contacts. So if I open this up and click send to server, it's going to generate all the reports to, well, yeah, these are the various reports that it creates. But if I click that send to server button, it's going to reports on the server. And then I can just go to this back to the server. And contacts. Once you click that button, those contacts, these files, you want to copy them all and then put them in info, because they will have been updated once that is done. I believe. Okay. So that's how I do the program contacts. Regulations. Go to the department's regulation webpage. So get there. So I just get there through our menu system. Okay, reference, regulations, and manuals. And if I just go to the top here, DSS website. Department website. Feels like it's ready to. It's taking its sweet time there. And then I'm going to clean my desktop a little bit. It says it can't find it. Maybe my internet's down. California. Looks like it might be down the website. That's strange. Okay, well, I'll pause right here.